Hello, I'm Ann Montgomery, Editor-in-Chief of BioProcess International magazine. I'm here today with Tom Ransohoff, who's Vice President and Principal Consultant at BioProcess Technology Consultants. Tom, I'd like to begin with your general impressions of the evolution of downstream processing. What changes have you seen in the past 10 years?
Well, obviously the industry's matured quite a bit over the last decade, and a couple of changes, I guess, that I've observed. One is a much more heavy reliance on platform processes, particularly for common sets of molecules like monoclonal antibodies. Another trend is increasing use of advanced analytical technologies to guide development of downstream processes. The power and sophistication of the analytical methods we use to characterize impurities these days is far greater than it was 10 years ago. And finally, I think there's an increasing emphasis on developing tools and techniques that allow us to run at a higher throughput, particularly as the bottleneck from increasing productivity in cell culture operations starts to move downstream.
So these days, what do you feel is the most difficult unit operation in developing a bioproduction process?
Well, I think that depends on the process. For antibody processes, it's often that polishing step that is used to deal with the particular impurities for that specific molecule. For many other novel types of molecules, it can be something completely different. Just chaired a session on downstream process development of completely novel molecules, and there are many challenges that are wide and varied depending on the type of product you're working with. So I think it's hard to pick out any one particular unit operation as the one that challenges us every time.
What purification step is typically most difficult to scale up?
You know, I think when we look at scale-up, the rules of scale-up are pretty well established for chromatography, for cross-flow filtration, for a number of the unit operations. So the scale-up challenges tend to be greatest when we're dealing with scale-dependent parameters like mixing or, for example, heat transfer, as in the case of freezing, which none of those processes tend to be very easy to develop scale-down models for.
Which new tools or technologies do you find most promising to address some of these challenges?
Oh, well, you know, there's so many of them. I'm very excited about some of the newer approaches to bringing analytical methods closer to the process. UPLC applied to process streams is one example. Certainly very interested in evolution of continuous processing and some of the important work that's being done by a number of end users and vendors to look at fully continuous processes, or even just conversion of batch chromatography steps, for example, to continuous processing. So I think there are a number of important developments that are still ongoing in the industry. It's still a very young industry, and there's still a lot of, I think, exciting science that people are doing in better understanding our processes and molecules.
Would you like to offer any final thoughts?
It's just a wonderful time to be working in the biopharma field. The industry's growing. A lot of exciting new treatments that everybody's trying to develop, and a lot of good science both on the vendor and end user side. So it's fun to be part of it.
Exciting future.
Yes.